Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger, and you are going to love today's episode. It's with my friends Larry and Sue Pruett. They've been selling for quite a while. They have tons of knowledge and experience, and I took notes like crazy on this episode. Some of the things you're going to learn about is how they've hired shoppers, how they've expanded their business, how they work together as a couple, how they manage all of that, and they're coaches for Jim Cockrum Coaching. They mention things like integrity and maintaining relationships and how that's helped them in their business. They said, integrate this business into your life. Don't let it become your life. So, tons of knowledge bombs that they dropped and just helpful advice. So no matter whether you are at the beginning stages of your business or if you are looking to expand or you are advanced, you're going to love this episode with Larry and Sue. Here it is. Larry and Sue, welcome to Streams of Income Radio. I'm sad I can't believe this is your first time. I should have had you on long before this.
Thanks, Ryan. We're very excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
This is awesome. Well, as you guys know, I like hearing people's stories, and so I mean, maybe not go back to when you were born or anything, but tell me how you guys got started on e-commerce and that journey for you.
Yeah, well, I was born at a very early age.
Okay.
Me too. We got that in common.
Yeah, we have that in common. Yeah. No, it's really funny because first of all, I am a terrible salesman, so I never thought I would sell anything to anybody. Anytime I tried it, I just failed miserably at it. But there was a day for my day job, I was standing in line at the post office. All right. So this goes back, I don't know, early 2000s. And it was a long line, as post offices are famous for, or infamous. And there were 2 ladies that were standing in front of me, and they were talking very loudly. I wasn't eavesdropping, but one of them was talking about selling stuff on eBay and how she was shipping it out. And she was like, I just sold this lamp for like $50 or whatever. And it just really, got my attention. And I thought, I've got a bunch of junk sitting around the house, and maybe we can sell something. So that was 2004 was the first time that we sold anything. I had a whole bunch of old books. So I started with selling an old book. And
was that on eBay?
It was on eBay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was back in the day, Ryan, whenever you had to have an actual camera and take a picture of it and then get the little SD card and put it in the computer. And so it was like an hour-long process to list something. And I made like, $3 or something on it.
But it was enough to keep going.
Exactly.
But it just kind of whetted the appetite.
Yeah. Wow. So 2004. So you started on eBay. How long did you sell on eBay before you moved over to Amazon?
Well, I think we opened up an eBay account or an Amazon account fairly shortly after that, but just kind of messed with it. We actually did some drop shipping.
Okay.
Which we don't recommend.
And it was primarily books because we had an online bookstore. I guess that kind of started with the eBay thing. And some of the publishers that we started with back in 2005, probably, we still have accounts with them. We still sell stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So we kind of dabbled with it. And then in 2012,
in 2012, we decided that Larry needed to leave the day job he was at. And he gave 6 months notice, which is pretty rare, but there was a lot he needed to train somebody else on before he left. And he's a good guy. He never burns a bridge. I don't think he's ever burned a bridge in his life. So about that time, we started thinking, well, what are we going to do next? Is it going to be another job, or are we going to get to bring him home? Because it's been something I've been following Jim Cockrum since about 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And so had been reading those emails and kind of had that, desire, I guess, to see if we couldn't bring Larry home.
Yeah.
And about that time, the Proven Amazon course crossed my path.
Okay.
And I took it to Larry and said, I think this might be something we could do. So we decided to try it. So we bought the course, and I started the business in October of 2012.
Wow.
And did well enough that in February of 2013, we were confident enough for him to retire from corporate and come home.
That's awesome.
And then shortly after that, I really handed almost all of the reins over to him, and he took that over, and I went back to stay-at-home mom homeschooling our 5 kids. So,
wonderful.
That was a challenge during a lot of that time. But then the business has just, that's been the primary means of providing for our family since then. And of course, we've branched off and done other things and bolted things on and tried some things that didn't work out so well, but Amazon has always been there. Yeah. And so we have been able to successfully navigate that that path of selling on Amazon, and have really enjoyed it, and just are thankful that we get to do this, because now we get to work together. We really do enjoy getting to do that. So.
I love that. I definitely want to get to that, because that's something you guys you have on your heart, to help other couples do that, and how you manage that. So I definitely want to get into that subject. Tell me October to February, that's 5 months. Your business was at a state in 5 months that you felt confident that he could say no to another job.
Well, okay. Yeah, we should really pretty well explain that, because we had not replaced my income by any stretch of the imagination. But during that 6 months of my notice, and during the 5 months that Sue was working on the business and everything, we were preparing ourselves for an extended period of time of not having an income. So, so we started slashing the budget. That was one of the things that we couldn't believe, how much money we were able to take out of our budget, Because
I've always been frugal. Always. I thought our budget was pretty trim already.
Yeah.
Right.
But we didn't realize that we could survive without DirecTV.
Sure.
I mean,
no baseball.
Barely.
No baseball. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we took care of that and just really reduced our expenses. And then we were socking money away during that time. So we actually had 6 months worth of expenses in the account.
And my favorite thing to tell people is I stocked up on things at the store.
Yes.
So much so that I did not buy toilet paper for 6 months after.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even buy that much during COVID. So
You couldn't buy it during COVID.
No.
Oh my gosh.
So we did as much preparation as we could, and literally whenever I came home, it was just like, let's give this a shot and see what happens. You know? And I'm not a risk taker either. That's what's crazy about this we just put it in the Lord's hand and just said, we'll just see what happens. We trust him. And after about the 5 to 6 month mark, we kind of went, well, we're still eating. Everything seems to be okay. Yes, the savings is dwindled a lot, but let's keep going for another couple months. And then it just kept being a couple more months and a couple more months. And it just gave us time to really grow the business that way.
That's awesome. What did your business look like between October and February 2013? October 2012 to February 13. What were you doing? What was it clearance and books or?
Yeah, it was all like RA and thrifting. So I did a lot at Big Lots and Walmart for the retail arbitrage, and I did a lot at Goodwill for the thrifting. And so the Goodwill things and even the Big Lots things, those were things that were high ROI. So, we were very strict at the very beginning, especially. I didn't want to go into debt for the business. So there were times I walked into Big Lots with $40 in my pocket. And I said, this is what I can spend today. And I would start putting stuff in the cart. When I hit $40, I was done and checked out, and then I would ship that in. And we got in early enough that we were on daily payouts from the beginning. So that was helpful, because as soon as things sold, then I could get some cash, going and get back out there. But it was a lot of just scrapping. So like I said, we have 5 kids. They were all I was still homeschooling. And so the way that I organized my time was because my oldest was old enough to care for everybody else, I could leave in the afternoon when the littlest one was taking his nap. I would leave in the afternoon, go to the store, do my shopping the next day. Scouting. Larry says shopping is spending money, scouting is making money.
That's right.
So, okay, so that's the difference.
That makes sense. Yeah,
big difference.
I would scout, and then I would come home, and then the next day during nap time, I would prepare the shipment and get it out. And so I just did as much of that as I could. The fact that we started in October, I'm sure helped because Q4 was like super easy to sell things, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
At that time, I didn't know anything about replens or any of that kind of thing. I just scanned. And, you know, if it worked, then we sold it. And if it didn't work, I skipped past it. So, so that was pretty much it until Larry came home in February.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. And one of the things about that, Ryan, just to kind of throw this out there for everybody is, you know, anytime something new comes along, and especially if it's free, just sign up for it. You know, like, you know, go ahead and get a Walmart account set up now if you don't already. Just any of these selling platforms. So because whenever with that Amazon account, even though we didn't do anything with it really for several years, the fact that we had an old account, we got grandfathered into all kinds of really cool things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been one of our policies is just like, hey, there's something new. It's free to sign up. I'm just going to sign up. I'm signed up for the Walmart fulfillment services. I've sold 3 things on Walmart so far, but I'm just like, I'll just sign up for it.
Yes.
And then that may be a huge part of our business a year from now. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I just recommend everybody just sign up for stuff, especially if it's free. And then
it's very smart
in your tool belt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you remember how much you started? So you said you were scrapping. Any idea the amount of money you started that first investment?
Yeah, we had $1,000 that we decided we would risk on this, and we spent $400 of it on the Proven Amazon course.
Wow.
So I had $600 to spend on product.
Oh my goodness. So you started with $600 in inventory. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know you can start with less, and you probably teach students how to do with less, but 600 is still not a lot of money to get started with.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. If you had to start over, what would you do if you had $600 right now and you had to start all over again? Where would you put it?
Oh boy. You know, we still like thrifting. We still like going to garage sales. We definitely recommend to people the pyramid that you have, Ryan, you know, starting with things around the house. But literally just anything that you can find like that, just jump on. I mean, we've got some friends who just came to me yesterday because they bought an old cabinet at an auction for $10. And inside that cabinet were a whole bunch of VHS tapes.
Yes.
And they wanted me to look up the prices. One was going for $5,000.
No way.
You know? So yes.
Disney movies in the cellophane.
Oh my gosh.
Disney movies in the cellophane.
Wow.
So, you know, maybe
did you tell them, did you say that these aren't worth anything? I'll just take them off the hand.
No, you got to have integrity.
Integrity. That's right.
No, but you know, I haven't even offered yet, but you know, I would do consignment for them and split the proceeds. They can do it themselves. There's no doubt about it, but they may just want to say, hey, you're used to doing this, just do it. But yeah, you know, if somebody had $600 to get started, I would say those things I mentioned, or some retail arbitrage, look for some clearance things.
Okay.
You know, I'd say at least double your money on everything, 100% ROI.
Okay.
Just really be very strict with that, because it's not like, you know, it's not like it's gold nuggets that you have to go and hide somewhere and hope to preserve. You do want to spend it. You know, that's, we do see people making that mistake of saying, well, I've only got $600 to spend, so I'm never going to spend anything. You know, no, you need to spend the money. You just need to spend it very wisely and just try to at least double your money on it, every investment.
And when you find something that's selling good for a really good profit, dive in and get it. One of the things, one of the mistakes I made in the very beginning, I'll never forget this. It was a James Bond wall calendar and a movie that was like 2 or 3 years old. The calendar was 2 or 3 years old. I think it was like an 08 or 09 calendar. So this was in 2012 that they had at Big Lots that I could buy for $5. And I saw, well, it's selling on Amazon for like 30. So that's probably okay. So I got one and I sent it in and it sold as soon as it hit. Well, I should have known right then, go buy the rest of them. But I went back and I got 2. And I sent those in and they both sold. And I eventually bought all of them, but I took like 3 weeks to do it. And I should have just, you know, once that first one sold so fast, that's the clue. Like, oh, this is going to sell quickly. So
but you needed that confidence though with that, you know, for doing it at the beginning. You may not have the confidence at the beginning to go out and, you know, clear the shelf.
That's true.
Typically don't want people to clear the shelf.
Right.
Yeah.
And what they had on hand. I mean, they only had like 8 or so on hand. So I couldn't have spent, a ton of money on it, but I could have made that money faster than what I did.
Yeah.
Well, and now we'd be driving around to every Big Lots in the area and asking them if you got more in the back and all that stuff. But
yeah.
in the beginning, you had the $40 in
That's
your
right.
pocket. So.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about if somebody has less than $50 to get started? I imagine it's kind of the same advice. A thrift store would be a good place.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Thrift stores. And also the other aspect of that is I always say sell something that you know about it already. Like there's no, when you're picking something up, you're not asking yourself, what is this and what does it do?
Right.
If you are familiar with it, you don't have to do any research. You know what it does. So
now I'll go to the checkout and the cashier will be asking me about the product that's sitting there. I'm like, I have no idea what it is.
Right.
Why are you asking me about this? Why do I know anything about this? But
you just know you're going to make money on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I would just say also, selling things on consignment is a great way to get started when you don't have much money.
To explain that. I mean, most people probably know. Yeah. We talked about it before in this show, but tell me what consignment is.
So like, for example, one time there was somebody I knew and her aunt passed away and she just had a house full of stuff and she was literally paying one of those companies to come and, take all the stuff out and throw it away. And I was like, stop.
Yeah.
I will come there and I will take it away from you for free,
Yeah.
And so she literally, I talked about consignment, but she didn't want any money for it. She just wanted it out.
Man.
So I recruited my brother and we went over there and we just loaded up our vehicles. We rented a U-Haul and it was a whole bunch of old vintage dishes and stuff. And I didn't know much about it at that stage. And so I was doing research and listing them and then I split the proceeds with my brother. But so that's just kind of an example, it's something you could get for free or very little money.
Yes.
And if you can split the profits, always go off the profits, I would suggest.
Yes.
And then, so there's no upfront investment.
Absolutely.
Cash outlay.
Wow. Yeah. Unbelievable. That's incredible. She got it for free because she just wanted it out of the house. There's opportunity like that all over the place.
And she's paying somebody like, several $100s to come and take it away. And I'm sure they were doing the same thing,
Yes.
So it actually saved them money by me doing it for free.
Yeah. And you mentioned, I think I know what you're going to say, but what you mentioned, you did the research. I imagine most of that was eBay then.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you're looking at completed listings, the sold listings, and making sure because, you could put on a vintage dish on there for $5,000, but it's only worth $50,000. And so you have to look at what it's sold for.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a big learning curve with that. There was learning how to ship dishes properly. I had several refunds I had to give,
Sure.
And in that case, it was worth it to pick up something that we didn't know much about because there was no cash outlay on our part. Right. And so it was worth it because we ended up with a lot of stuff that was valuable enough to invest the time to learn. So, and now we have that knowledge.
Yeah. I imagine you're not doing too much of that anymore, are you, with looking for consignment deals?
No, not really. But I still like going to garage sales.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to hire somebody to do my eBay listings for me though. And, that was one of those things where, I just realized that I've got all this stuff sitting here, either from garage sales or Amazon returns or whatever. And there's just a lot of money sitting there. And I kept thinking, maybe next weekend I'll get to this and I'll sit down and I'll do all these listings.
Right. The death pile is what we call it.
Yeah. The death pile. Exactly. Yeah. And then we were talking this is something that's been a real blessing for us is being able to help other people because we were talking to a pastor's wife and she had this job that she hated. She was having to put our kids into daycare. She hated doing that.
Yeah.
And so Sue and I are just looking at each other and we're kind of doing this nonverbal communication thing,
Yeah.
And we're kind of like, And so I said, would you want a job working from us where you could work from home, set your own hours, And she's just like, yeah, let's talk.
Wow.
And so we hired her to do our eBay listings. And so she comes and gets the stuff, takes them home, does the listings, brings it back to us. And I forget what the total is now. She's up to 80 to 100 hours that she has spent. And she's still not all the way caught up on it.
Yeah.
And maybe I could have done it faster than her, but it was foolish of me to think I could do it in a weekend, unless I just didn't sleep that weekend or something.
Sure.
And so it's just been, it's just given us another income stream, getting our eBay going back again. Greg Perry has been a good influence on us there. And so but again, it's just how much we underestimate how long something is going to take us to do, and just how valuable that was, not only for us, but for another family. We're blessing another family and having her do that for us. So.
Yeah, she's been able to homeschool her own kids, which is her desire anyway. Yes. And she does the work for us around what she's doing with her family. And we love being able to support that aspect of it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Wow. What does your business look like now? Obviously you're doing, thrift stores every day. Because most people's businesses make changes that you pivot, or you just go through phase, you learn something new and you get better at it, and you find your sweet spot kind of, as far as, you might start at consignment and then you go to, like that pyramid we talked about, and you find your place where you feel like I got it here, or, I used to be in HVAC. So now I sell HVAC supplies because that's my thing and that's my niche. So what does your business look like?
Well, one of the things like in this last year or so that we've really kind of emphasized on, where are some of the bottlenecks in our business? What are some things that are holding the business back? And the first conclusion we came to was space. And so we actually have a warehouse now. We've been in it since last fall, I guess. And so just, having things, we did have some prepping and shipping partners who they were prepping and such in their house, and then they moved out of the area. So we took it back into our house, and things were spilling all over the place.
It was all over
in the house. So that was the biggest change that we've made over the last year. And then that opened up so many other possibilities. So now we have actually our 20-year-old daughter, she heads up the prepping and shipping aspect of our business.
So you've created 2 jobs then.
We've created a few.
Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about the business. When we first got started, we were so jaded about, dealing with other people and such in work, that we were just like, no, it's going to be just us. We're not hiring anybody else, just us, maybe our kids. That's it.
Yeah.
And as time has gone on, we've discovered if we want to keep growing, you hit your max. And when you do, you have a choice. You either, start to outsource, or you stop growing and you die. And we didn't want to do that. So, so we've, over the time, and we've added like 1 or 2 people at a time. We've got 2 shoppers now who do our replens business. We have 2 preppers besides our daughter who comes in and they actually prepare the product. Our daughter takes care of getting it entered, helping to prep. And then our daughter and our youngest son, they actually box for us. And then we've got the eBay gal who is listing for us on eBay. And then we've just recently hired somebody to help us with the books and that kind of thing. And, I told you that Larry never burns a bridge.
Yeah.
A couple of the people that we've hired are people that he has worked with in the past in his office jobs. And the most recent one, we were thinking about what we needed to have done for the business. And all of a sudden I just thought of this one gal, and I said, she did that at the office, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, let's reach out to her and see, because we knew she wasn't doing an office job at the time. And so Larry reached out to her and said, hey, we're needing some more help for our business. Would you consider talking to us? And her response was, yes, I want to work for you. She didn't care what the job was. She didn't care what it was. So he's very good at maintaining relationships. And that's kind of a point, even outside your business, doesn't matter, just in life, have integrity and maintain good relationships. And that will carry you really far in everything, including your business.
So we actually now have we have more employees that have a different last name than us. Than those that do have our last name.
Wow.
And everybody's part-time. Everybody's got a very flexible, our preppers have pretty rigid schedules, but everybody else has got pretty flexible schedules and can work around other things. And different seasons of life, they may work more than other times. But one of our, and this kind of goes into the other thing that we've really been focusing in on here. What are some missed opportunities in our business? And one of them was, just utilizing the skill and the talent that we have on our staff right now. And so one of our shoppers, she's just a go-getter. I mean, it's just like, man, it's just amazing how we found her. And so she's very aggressive in the stores, and she'll just load up, She got
and she's making buying decisions for your business.
Well, no, she hasn't been. And that's been one of the things that has just hit me is what a missed opportunity here.
Okay. She was just refilling your replens, restocking replens. Okay.
Yeah. She's actually creating the shopping list for us. Okay. And then she is one of the 2 shoppers going out. And the reality has hit me is like, what am I doing? Why am I holding her back?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I let her start finding her own products and such? And so actually later this week, I'm sitting down with the 2 shoppers and we're going to do some training on it. And I'm going to explain to them how to do it and what to look out for and, all the ins and outs of that.
Love it.
And I've got a feeling that we're getting ready to explode again because she will, especially the one, is just going to be great at it. So,
yeah. So right now, are you paying per hour right now for what they're doing? Yes. Okay. Yes. And what do you think that's going to, and maybe you don't know the answer yet. What do you think it's going to look like once they start making, is it still going to be per hour? Are you going to go to a profit split or what do you think?
Yeah. I've been playing around with those numbers. I do think we're going to do a profit. We'll do the hourly, for their hours of shopping, but anything that they find, we'll do some sort of a profit split on that.
Yeah.
So not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but I definitely want to incentivize them to find good things. So
essentially walk me through that process. Cause there's so many people that you guys know this too, that they need to expand, but they're like just a little bit nervous. They don't know how to do it. Who are you going to hire? But what do you think that's going to look like as far as how are you going to train them? Tell me what you're going to do, because this is going to be super valuable for somebody that's thinking, gosh, I need to hire a shopper. It's pretty self-explanatory to have somebody go and do the buy list and restock your replens. You can pretty much find, anybody can do that. But to make buying decisions, that's a whole other level. So what kind of training are you going to take them through?
Well, I am planning on bringing them to the warehouse where we'll have some products sitting there, and I'll show them on my phone how I scan barcodes, how I do the reverse sourcing and such. Mm-hmm. And so I suspect that it's just going to be a process of showing them exactly how I do it. I may go out to the store with them a time or two as well, because that's what we did even whenever they were shopping. I met them at a Walmart, somewhere kind of simple like that. And then I just walked through with them and just showed them how to do it. And
we have like a 4-step process that we do every time we take somebody new on. And so it kind of goes like this. It goes, you watch me and I'll show you what I'm doing. And then you help me. And so you will participate in whatever it is that we're doing. And then I'm going to help you. You're going to take the lead and I'm going to help you do it. I'm here to answer questions, that kind of thing, point out things for you. And then I'll watch you do it.
Wow,
and that gives
I love
them the
that.
confidence to take off on their own. Once we get to that point, then they're like, okay, I know I've done it in front of Larry or Sue and they know what I'm doing and I'm doing it right. And so they have some confidence. And they still make mistakes sometimes.
Sure.
That was the big fearful thing for me was like, oh, what if we have an employee that makes a really big mistake and costs us a lot of money? Well, it's happened and we survived. So, and you learn, we go into every hire saying, we're going to take 30 days and try this out and run through our process. And if after 30 days, either one of us feels like this isn't a good fit, then we'll just part ways. And we've had to do that once and it was okay. And, it wasn't fun, but it was okay. And everybody else, it takes a lot of the pressure off of everybody in that when you kind of say, we're going to try it for 30 days and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we try to be extremely direct. I mean, not mean, not harsh, anything like that. But, just clear. I mean, that's what I think people want is clear direction. And, and we've gotten really good response from that. We try not to do the thing where, like if one person makes a mistake, we make a general announcement to the whole group. So everybody's like, did I do something? And no, just go to the one person, talk to them privately, deal with the issue, and then everybody's learned and moved on then.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Are you going to give them like a credit card and then just like with a spending limit or something? Or I guess you know them now, you trust them now, so you probably could just give them an unlimited amount and you just know they're not going to, go out and buy themselves a car or anything.
Right. Yeah. They both have company credit cards now, and I don't think that there is a limit on it. If there is, they've never hit it yet.
Right.
At the very beginning, we did buy them discounted gift cards. We went through like raise.com or something like that. email them the gift card. So they had like a $500 limit at the beginning.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And again, I started noticing like I'm throttling this back because they're limited, and they'd have to contact me, say, hey, I need another card. And, so it was time consuming for everybody. And I was like, it's time. So probably after a couple of months, I opened that up and got them on a card.
I love it, man. I know this is going to be very helpful for people that know that they're at that spot. They need to do something. Real quick, what advice would you give before we move on? What advice would you give for somebody who needs to hire a shopper? Obviously, if they, let's say they don't have 5 kids that are, and they need to find somebody, what's some advice that you would give them to find that first hire?
So the way that we have done it so far is I've just gone out on Facebook and just said, hey, local friends, our business is growing and we need some help. And just that if you're interested in talking, reach out. And that's how we have found almost all of our hires at this point. And again, go into it with that really relaxed attitude that talk to each other, lay out what you want them to do, let them say whether or not they think that's going to fit with what they want and what they're available for. And then just say, let's try it for 30 days and see what happens. And if you've got that pressure off, then it's, you don't feel like you're making a permanent decision at that point. And it really does help. Yeah,
that's very good. So with all this outsourcing, I imagine this has allowed you guys to do more of the coaching. So let's talk about what you're doing with the coaching program. And I assume that's something you love doing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. But it's allowed you to focus in on students and pour yourself into them. So let's talk about the coaching program, what you guys are doing there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we've been coaching for about 4.5 years with Jim Cochran Coaching. We started off with primarily doing what they call reactive coaching, which is just kind of emailing back and forth and kind of sporadic interactions and
it's in support of the main coaching, the main coaching that they're getting. Yeah.
Right. So then it's probably been about 1.5 years ago that we started doing a lot more of the main coaching, the proactive coaching and heading up a team within the team. Yeah. And so now we're able to recruit other coaches onto our team. We're able to we definitely still work one-on-one with students quite a little bit. But we've been able to build up teams and just kind of help the coaching program in general.
Yeah. So, we ended up in this just because teaching is kind of our natural bent. We have a little bit, our kind of unique thing is that we do work together as a couple on our business and we also coach together. We don't always necessarily coach together in the same session, but we do both work with our students.
We kind of divide and conquer.
At this point.
Because I do probably more of the one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
But with every one of our new students, Sue will get started with them. Okay. And because Sue is very good at laying down the groundwork, expectations, like basically here's what it's going to take to be successful. So she starts with every one of our students and that foundation, helping them with their mindset and such. And then I start showing them, live online arbitrage and the details and spreadsheets and stuff like that,
Good.
Because both of those are super important to a business. And so we do that. And then Sue also really takes on pretty much all of the management of the coaches and assigning the students to the right coach and things like that. So we're able to kind of divide and conquer and really maximize our time.
Yeah. Do you guys enjoy the coaching side and working with students more than you do in the nitty gritty of your Amazon business, or do you like both as equal?
I enjoy the coaching more. Because I'm not a detailed person. So some of the Amazon stuff drives me bonkers. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with it.
Right.
But I enjoy that a lot more. Just because, that is a big part of it for me is I am more the extrovert and I want to be, interacting with a lot of people. I love the new aspect of, meeting a new student and getting into their business and such. Teaching is our bent, like I said, which is kind of why we came into this anyway. And then to be able to share this with a student and watch their business blossom, that is a huge reward. I don't think I can state it strongly enough how good that feels to see somebody, hey, I had this success. I hit this milestone. I think we've been a part of bringing several dads home and that's huge to us.
Yes, it is.
Obviously,
Yeah.
That's a huge thing for us. Bringing moms home, we've brought several moms home, so it's just, I mean, I still pinch myself a lot of times that I get to be a part of this because it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like both. I like the nitty gritty of Amazon still, but I really enjoy working with students, and they both go hand in hand very well because, you know, our students would be like, hey, I got this compliance alert or whatever. And I'll be like, me too, you know? And so we're right there with them. And so then a lot of the time is just me saying, here's what I'm doing. Here's how I'm handling this. Here's how I'm growing my business. And so, I
think one of the things that happens in that situation is, even though that particular issue might be a new one, we've been selling long enough that we know, okay, every so often Amazon gets a burr under their saddle about something and they start, you know, issuing all kinds of new edicts and things like that. And we know, well, you just have to navigate it. And there's kind of a pattern to navigating these things. And so we can show that to the student that even though we're being hit by the same thing, they see our calm about it. And, you know, because sometimes a new seller, I remember when we were new, it can panic you. You can feel like, oh no, this is going to ruin my business. And we're able to say, probably not. So let's navigate it. Let's see what we can do here, you know.
Well, just like with I mentioned the compliance things. And so there was the thing with the toys just a few months back here. And so, you know, to hear a student say, okay, well, I'm never going to sell a toy again. So let's see, should I stop selling grocery now? Because I'm afraid grocery is going to be next. I'm like, no, keep selling toys, keep selling groceries. You know, you just have to navigate through this. And like Stu said, it's just an experience. I mean, we've ridden this roller coaster enough now. It just, I don't yawn at it, you know, but I am just kind of like, okay, this is serious. You got to take it seriously. You got to jump on it. You got to figure this out. But we're going to get through this. It's going to be okay.
Absolutely. That's good
Amazon
advice. You open your account and you see that little red flag up there. You're like, uh-oh, what's going on now?
I hate that.
I know.
I don't look.
Well, I'll tell you, there was a time, Ryan, that I was talking to a friend of mine who was kind of a little bit of doing some business consulting with us, just informally. And I said, oh, so last night at midnight, I was looking at my account and I saw this red flag. And he said, just stop. What are you doing looking at your account at midnight?
Right.
And he said, Larry, you got to clock out. I'm like, okay, that's good advice. I still struggle with it, honestly, just because I enjoy it so much. And I check it on a regular basis. But you know, check your account health on a regular basis, but not at midnight. Get some sleep.
Exactly.
Deal with it in the morning.
Wonderful advice. Well, I wanted something that you've been on your guys' heart is working together as a couple and helping other people navigate that too. So what's some advice for folks that like, I'd love to work with my husband or my wife and just how to make that work? Yeah.
Like one of the first things with that is it's just so easy to get your priorities out of whack, and the marriage always has to come first. I mean, if our Amazon business crashes and burns and our coaching and everything like that, we'll figure something else out. We'll figure out another way to eat. But, you know, our marriage has to stay strong. And so it is so easy to think she's my business partner and she doesn't want to do something I want to do, so I need to steamroll over her or something like that. And you've just got to check that, you know, depending on your personality and such. And so just keeping those priorities in place is just unbelievably crucial. And it can be hard at times to figure all that out.
Yes, it can. We came to a pact fairly early on that we each have a 51% vote, and what that really means is that we each have veto power. And so
the math people just hate that.
I know. But what it boils down to is that if there's a decision that needs to be made in the business, a big decision, we don't consult each other about, like, he doesn't call me and say, you know, can I buy this toy? But big decisions that need to be made, either one of us can say no, basically is what that boils down to. And so that gives me a lot of security I tend to be a little bit more okay with risk than a lot of women. Like typically it's the wife that's not as okay with the risk. I tend to be okay with more of the risk, but even for that little bit that I kind of struggle with, I like knowing that if I really want to say no, I can. Yeah. And Larry will respect that. And I think I've done it once, maybe twice.
I think twice.
He remembers. Right. But he respected that, and the business still survived. You know, it didn't ruin our business or anything. And later I'd probably make a different decision. But that type of thing and the communication between each other needs to stay really open. Yes. Like Larry has said before, we're pretty direct. And we're pretty direct with each other. You know, if we see something that like we need to talk about, we don't tend to just kind of wait and see what's going to happen. We talk about it. That's good. So that helps a lot. And it's amazing how much both the business and the marriage are affected by each other. And by improving one, you can improve the other. Yeah. And so they're very integrated at this point.
So and so along those lines, we do try to make sure that we have at least once a quarter a time where we actually get away for a weekend goal setting, just kind of a meeting, just kind of touching base on where are we at with things, where do we want to go with this business, make sure we're on the same page, because there are times where I'm like, we're going to quadruple this Amazon business. And she's just like, what? You know, have you thought about this and this and this, you know? So sometimes we'll get like that big vision, but then it's not practical to do that in light of everything else in life. So,
or as fast.
Or as fast as what we're saying. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And then in addition to that, we take a weekly lunchtime. And I know a lot of times couples will say, let's get away and have lunch, and let's not talk about the kids. Let's not talk about work, stuff like that. We're like, no, everything's on the table. And so, because there's some things that like, I've been trying to talk to you about this for like 6 days, you know, and we need to talk about these things. So our conversations are just all over the place whenever we're talking a lot of times. But we definitely focus in on what's going on in the business, you know, just whatever. And then sometimes there's not a whole lot going on and we just sit and chit chat, you know, but it's just a nice connection. So normally every Friday for lunch, we go out together. And of course our kids are older now so that we can do that without having to get a babysitter or whatever. So if the kids are younger, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge, but I would still say, you know, as much as you can do it, try to make that work.
What we did when the kids were little was we would put them to bed. Usually it was on a Sunday night, and then we would do dinner together. So either I'd make something, or we'd run out and get something and bring it in, and we would sit down and have an uninterrupted meal together while the kids were in bed. So that was how we navigated that when our kids were little, and we couldn't, you know, do that, hire a babysitter once a week or whatever. But there are ways to do it, and sometimes you just have to get a little bit creative, but you can do it.
Wow. I'm sure you've had some coaching, and we've been doing this for 40 minutes. I love this conversation. I go for 2 hours with you guys, but listeners might be, hey, let's get to the next episode. But tell me about with if your spouse is not completely on board with you, I'm sure you've had some coaching students that are like, I'm all in, I want to do this, but my husband is not, or my wife is like a little bit, you know, not on board with this, because like the last 3 times I've tried a business, they failed and I've spent thousands of dollars and I just don't want to go back to work. And, you know, talk to that couple who's having that, where they're not on board on everything like you guys are.
Yeah. The first question I'm going to ask that student is, what's more important, your marriage or your business? So you have to make that decision before you go down the path any further.
And if you say your business is more important, then I'm probably not going to be want to work with you then.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. I'm not the one to help you if you're going to say my business is more important than my marriage, because obviously that's going to be out of whack with the priorities that we have. Exactly. But then the next step is going to be, okay, so how about if you talk to your spouse and find out what specifically are their objections? I mean, there's probably some general feeling of unease around it, but there's also, it might be something like, I don't want you to drain our life savings in order to do this business. And then
but you don't have to, do you? As we've talked about,
exactly.
you can start with
you don't have to.
$50.
So then it becomes a discussion of, okay, well, let's figure out, what are you comfortable with me risking?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I'd be okay with you risking 500 or 1,000 or whatever the number is.
Mm-hmm.
Say, okay, I'm going to make this work with that amount of money. And it's possible because we've seen people do it, and we've done it ourselves. And so I'm going to talk to them a lot about how to navigate that and be able to do this in a way that your spouse is comfortable with it, but still be able to pursue it, probably. And even if that means you have to delay that a little bit. My wife is, my spouse is absolutely not going to let me do it, for the next 6 months. Okay, wait 6 months. It's not going to be the end of the world if you have to wait 6 months,
Exactly.
Build up a little more savings or whatever it is that you need to do. That would be my approach to that.
Yeah, that's very good advice.
I would let Sue handle it. So that was perfect.
That was perfect. That's great. I absolutely agree. And it's not even, you say 500 to 1,000, put it, risk that. It's really not even that. That's not even a risk, because if you buy, you buy something for $2, you're going to be able to sell it. If you get it at a retail store, you can even take it back to the store. Maybe not a thrift store, but a Walmart will take back anything. So, this is so low risk. It's
exactly.
I've taken back stuff back to a thrift store, but you only got like 7 days or something.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a short window.
You realize, this was a bad buy. Okay, I can't take that back. But.
Yeah, man. Well, what advice? Last question, but then I'll give you guys the chance to say anything else you want. What advice would you give? Obviously, you see lots of coaching students. You see, mistakes people make when they get started. What advice would you give for somebody that's getting started or at the beginning of their business, or even later on where you are, and people that are getting ready to expand like you guys have done?
Yeah, I just think slow and steady is just so important, and people I think they see the success stories of somebody who started, on a Monday, and by Friday they've sold $10,000 or something. That's very weird. That's very strange. And yes, they're going to be posting out on the Facebook group and everything, and that's great, and take encouragement from that. But just realize that's not normal. No. And so we are just slow and steady from the beginning. We went several years, and you don't have to take several years, but it took us a long time before we went full time at this. And so even whenever you're expanding your business, you're going to the next stage, take your time. We do have some students who are older, and they're like, I need to do this now because I'm in my 70s or whatever.
Right.
But for the most part, people, you've got time, just take your time, build this up. It's going to minimize your mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. So it'd be much better to make a $20 mistake than a $2,000 mistake, and et cetera. So I just encourage people to be patient, take your time, do things right, and just grow it little by little.
Love it.
I think you said that really well. I mean, we talk about being the poster children for slow and steady, and integrate this into your life. Don't let it become your life.
Ooh,
keep your priorities where they should be, and bring people along with you, bring your family along with you if you've got one, bring that type of thing. One of the things that we have done is that as Larry would go out and scout, he would do that once a week. He always took one of the kids with him. So the kids have seen the business. Some of them have enjoyed that. Some of them have enjoyed the fact that they get free lunch that day out at a restaurant. It's so you never know what your kids are going to do, but he's always included that. And so he's had a whole day once a week with one of our kids, and that just builds into the relationship. So it's integrating life and the business.
And they push the second cart, help me carry stuff out to the van, all that type of stuff.
So cool. So many people like you guys, you make it a family thing, don't you? I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not all of our kids love the business, and not all of them have wanted to have anything to do with it, but we've got a couple that have, and we've seen some entrepreneurial seeds be planted, and one of our daughters, she wants nothing to do with our business because she's busy building her own. So
awesome. That's a whole other topic, just with kids and stuff, that we could get on a call and talk about that.
Yeah.
Very good. What other, anything else on your heart you guys want to share?
Oh man.
We covered a lot.
We really did. I mean, just have fun with this. I get it. For us, it's our full-time income. And so it's very serious. And, but we've just recognized that whenever we're more relaxed about it and we have fun at it, that we have a tendency to do better.
Yes.
So if you came to our warehouse and you would see like some of the employees, they're just giving me a hard time about stuff. And like, you still work here? We haven't seen you for weeks and everything. And it's like, so we just enjoy that interaction. And I remember in my day job sitting in the office with the owner of the company, and he was like, the employees are all out there laughing and stuff, go out there and stop them. Cause I was the manager, and I'm just like,
oh no,
would you rather them be arguing or mad at each other? No, I'm going to let them laugh.
Yeah.
They're still getting their work done, and so we've just kind of carried that over to our business. It's just enjoy this process.
Yes.
I mean, what a blessing we have.
Absolutely.
In where we live and the time that we live to be able to do this. I mean, it's just crazy. So just enjoy it,
Enjoy it.
Yeah. And I really appreciate the chance to get to come on here and talk with you about this. And I don't even know if you know this, but in 2018, everybody's business is going to go through roller coasters. In 2018, we had several perfect storms hit our business, and we had all that summer. We were like, I don't know if we're going to survive this. We may have to shut this down and do something else. And that fall, we went to what was then CES, now Proven Conference.
Yep.
And we learned more about Legends, and we decided to join. And when we joined, we started learning that replens model and really getting a lot of good instruction on that. And that really helped to save our business. That really is what pulled us back up to a place where we were able to say, okay, we can keep doing this. We can move forward. So we're very grateful for Legends and for all that you guys do and teach. And it has been, we've seen great benefit from us. It was joining Legends and reading the book Profit First. Those two things really saved our business from those storms that had hit us. And so we wanted to,
and we realized that we were the entire business ourselves. Yeah. That was really what motivated us to start hiring people and outsourcing more instead of trying to be a control freak like me.
Yeah. Right.
And so, so through something really bad, some stuff that happened in 2018, our business is so much stronger now.
Wow.
I pulled my hamstring yesterday, Ryan. And so I'm just thinking, I'm so glad that I don't have to go out to the stores this week and shop. Yeah. I'm so glad I don't have to prep. I'm so glad I don't have to box up and try to carry 50-pound boxes. I couldn't do it this week, but our business is going to keep humming right along, and I'm going to sit here at my computer.
I love
Nurse that leg a little bit. Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Let's have you back on anytime. If you ever have anything that's on your heart, you want to share, anything, just let me know. We'll have you back on to chat about it. Because you're a wealth of knowledge and experience, and I love your heart to teach people. And thank you for what you're doing in the coaching program and changing lives and bringing mom and dads home. I love it. That's what we're here. I feel like we're all a team, Legends, the coaching program, this whole Jim Cockrum, larger. And he'd hate when we say he knows it's not about him, but we have a lot. I thank him because if without him, I wouldn't be here and you wouldn't either. And so, but this whole community, we're all serving, doing the same thing. And it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much, Ryan. We really enjoy this.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon. See ya.
All right. Take care.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.